The Order of Nine Angles?
Yeah, or O9A they go by. They believe in a thing called culling, which is like, they believe that they get power by harming other people.
They do. That's a real spiritual principle. That's what that's what abortion is. That's what human sacrifice is.
Understood.
That's what, every ancient religion was about that, from the Canaanites till present. Yeah, that is literally devil worship. You get power from hurting others.
And they believe that. I mean, they openly talk about it, and use the words culling. Culling, yeah. And then I saw a reference recently to NLM, No Lives Matter. And if you don't mind, I can pull it out. I want to show you this conversation because the guy is, one of them is selling tickets to his suicide. And another one is he wanted to be murdered by, suicide by cop, but instead of just letting it happen that way, he was talking to one of these cultists and he was deciding, should he, murder a bunch of people on the way out, and what group is he going to do it for? Right.
You don't need to, what we're watching is like, a country that needs an exorcism.
It seriously does. And that conversation, if you don't want to see it, that's okay.
The whole point of it is, suicide's an act of hostility. Anyone who's been around it can affirm that. So yeah. By the way, Jesus cast the demons, the legion of demons out of the man into the herd of pigs. What's the first thing they do? Kill themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's a good point.
So we're finally listening about the 764 cult, right? Because I was one of the first people, and I've got the videos still up to prove it, that talked about this years ago and about their tactics. It's like this mixture of relief that people are finally listening because of docuseries, but also exhaustion because the amount of victims that could have been completely prevented if people would just listen to those of us who tried to warn people and everybody wouldn't listen and was acting like we were some tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists. Like, I've got videos back to like January of 2024 and sometimes even farther back talking about the tactics that these groups were using. Because this cult has multiple branches, if you don't know. It is the Discord cult, as a lot of people are calling it. And a very specific troll group of mine has been very actively part of it. And I pointed this out and how they were prying on people and how they were taking the people from their comments and their whole spiel of reeling people in and getting them to join their Discord and then trapping them into this cult. And people were like, no, you're being crazy. You're just like saying that because they're trolls and they're lying about you. No, I'm trying to warn you. And now people have been flooding my page the last few weeks since that docuseries came out. They were like, didn't you say something about this? Like, this kind of sounds like exactly what you were talking about. I'm like, it is. And y'all, there's still people who are supporting those people and letting them continue this cycle. Because one of the tactics that this group does is, so their main thing, if you haven't seen the docuseries, is they pry on the vulnerable. They are looking for people who have a bunch of mental health tags in their page. The irony is they're a neo-Nazi group, but if you find their social media, they will be the most progressive presenting people. They're the people 15 colored hair and they are like in every single politic. But they're extremists about it, and they make it seem like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm so insanely left, when they're actually neo-Nazis, and they do that to lower people in. So one of their tactics I initially talked about was the fact that they will purposely spread misinformation and then pry on people in their comments. So they will say something that is very easily fact checkable, like just any kind of like drama or bullshit that they make up. And it's something that if you took 2 minutes to fact check it, you would find out they are lying. But that is the whole point, is to see who will blindly believe them. And then when people start blindly believing them, now here's one of the two things will happen. One, not only the people that blindly believe them, but the people who will play into it too. That is like chef's kiss to them. They're getting wet in their pants the second they see somebody playing into it, because that proves just how easily it is going to be to manipulate that person. So when they see these people in their comments, they then go start looking at their pages. And when they have 15 self-diagnosed things in their bio, and the irony in that is, if somebody's doing that, typically there actually is a mental health issue there, but they do not have the support or the resources. So they have self-diagnosed with 15 different things, and instead of like being able to go get professional help and see what's actually going on. But all of that proves that, one, so they've already made the comment, right? They've spread the misinformation. You blindly believed it, even though it would have taken you 2 seconds to fact check. They've proven that they can manipulate you and that you are going to believe whatever they tell them, whatever they tell you. And then they go in the comments and you are feeding into this. They go look at your profile and they see by the fact that you have 15 diagnoses in your bio and you make all these videos about, mental health and stuff. They know that you do not have a support system, and that is when they start to play. They also like to reach out to people. Like if you say, hey, I had this bad experience with this person too, even though they know they are lying about the person and none of it's real, but the fact that you played into it and like are making up stuff too, they're like, oh, let me slide in. Let me pretend to bond with you. Oh, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. Playing into it. And they've now started this conversation where they can slowly eventually get you into that Discord. One big thing they like to do, and this is why I tell anybody, if somebody plays you a short clip, if they tell you a story and tell you that the video is not there anymore, or that you should not go look at the page, or say, oh, well, you're supporting them if you go to their page and watch it, you should immediately run from that person, because that means they are lying. They say these things to see if you will fact check, to see if you're smart enough and have that emotional maturity, media literacy to check on things that they are saying. Because if you are willing to blindly believe them and you're willing to just not check anything and just take them at face value, they know you are a prime target for them to suck into the situation. They also have a history of painting good people that actually help and talk about these things as complete monsters. They will be like, oh my God, they're complete monsters. They did all this crazy stuff, just like calling out their ass, fake screen and crop, whatever. They have their friends back them up so that it sounds real. Because they want to convince you to block anybody who is going to talk about their cult shit, because they don't want to run the fear that while they're manipulating you, before they can get you fully in and get that blackmail and stuff, that you scroll upon somebody on the FYP talking about the cult and realize, oh shit, I'm about to be sucked into a cult, and escape. So they will regularly shit talk people and make up shit and make them seem like a bad guy if it's somebody who talks about abuse, it talks about manipulation, talks about anything that that you as a victim might see and realize that you were a victim and leave their bullshit. And the ones who are large creators absolutely love to pry on smaller creators, because they'll be like, oh, I'm not a bad guy. Look, I'm talking to you because I really like you. And look, I'm going to help you build your platform and all this crap, and make you feel like you owe them something for being a small creator that knows a big creator, when you do not owe anybody anything. I've got mutuals that I got 20 followers and 20 million followers, and nobody owes me shit, just like I don't owe anybody shit for being mutuals with them because I have a bigger following or because they have a bigger following. The scariest part of all of this is the second they get you to leave this platform, like off their original stuff, the hook is in, because they will sit there purposely having these conversations. They will make sure that you were a prime target with all these tactics and then get you into these groups. And that's when all the stuff you hear in the docuseries comes out. What's sad is so many of the people that get sucked into this are minors who were just looking for somebody. Like they market different niches and hobbies that half of them aren't even actually into, just to target these people. They target communities they know have a high population of people with mental illness. And what's sad is a lot of them target these minors because they know that these minors are, like, when they have all these things in their bio and stuff and they're being left unattended on the internet, that they are going to be easily manipulated and very vulnerable, which is another prime example why I think some of these parents need their asses beat. What breaks my heart is over the last couple of years since this has been going on, and I've talked about how, like, people reach out and, like, apologize to me once they realize these are, like, monstrous people and they're like, oh shit. But the saddest part about this is I've had a couple of people who have reached out to me and been like, hey, so I think you were right. I think I might be in a bad situation. Do you have any advice? And I've, like, sent over resources, been like, hey, call the police, please. Because that's one thing people don't want to do. They're like, oh, it's an online call. It doesn't matter. Call the police, because they are getting people to kill themselves. I know it's embarrassing because that's one of the things they play on is blackmail. But it's better than you ending up how so many of the people in this cult have ended up. And the worst part is a lot of them end up preying on other people too. It's like a chain reaction. I highly recommend watching the docuseries. I might do a podcast episode on this when I start season 2 of the podcast, because there's so much more. And it's, like, pieced out over the last couple of years of me, like, bringing this up and having to deal with it. I've even talked about the whole, oh, it's a small community thing, where people will pry on people and make them feel like they can't escape by saying a community is small when it is not. Like, quick Google search, there's millions in this country alone. But they'll say that a community is small to make themselves seem powerful and make you want to be a part of that and think that if you leave, you won't have any community anymore, when realistically it is not. That is a manipulation technique. I've talked about that many times. Just like I've talked about anybody who says a video is deleted or that they can't show the whole thing or don't go over there because then you're supporting that person if you go watch the video. Go watch. Heck, even if it's something I'm saying, I'll straight up, like if I've ever to play a clip for somebody and something will happen where like it keeps getting removed when I post it, I will put it in the Google Drive and I'll be like, hey, and you can go directly to their profile. Here's the link, everything. So y'all know I'm telling the truth. What's ironic is the whole reason I discovered Faces in the Dark was because they were shit talking her too. Like the second, because they did it to me and multiple other people, like anybody who talks about this stuff, you know, to prevent their victims from seeing our stuff. As soon as I started shit talking Faces in the Dark, I was like, let me go check her out because I have a feeling she's probably like me and probably has done nothing wrong, and y'all just don't want somebody calling out your abuse and your victims finding out you're a piece of shit. And she actually just did a whole video on the cult. So I am going to tag her below so you can guys go check out her full video. So just to make this fun, let's do a little bet. How long do you think before one of the people from that exact group makes a video about me, lying about me, about this video to say, oh, I never did that. See, they're accusing me of that, even though I didn't say a name. But it's always the ones I'm talking about that immediately run to make a video when I bring up this topic.
Lured from Roblox. In one case, a person that was already arrested threw a brick through the window of a pregnant teen's car. The shock put her into cardiac arrest, her and the baby. The guy was arrested for being part of a 764 group and was charging $50 to $200 for bricking, swatting, and doxing services. So bricking means show up at somebody's house, either throw a brick through their window, shoot it up with a gun, vandalize it, break windows, record the video, and post it. 22-year-old member of one of the groups kidnapped and a 12-year-old girl in Virginia. He was convicted and sentenced to 350 years in prison. 17-year-old member Nino live-streamed himself attacking an 82-year-old man, and 2 weeks later, a 74-year-old woman on video who he believed to be Roma, he was only sentenced to 14 years. Hurt an old man terribly and an old woman gruesomely, just to prove to these people that he had what it takes to be part of their group.
What the is wrong with these people?
Have you ever heard of the 764 digital cult? No? Me neither, until Ryan Montgomery exposed it to me. What is it, might you ask? Well, it's a group so extreme that the FBI is already classifying it as a terror level threat. And you probably haven't even heard about it.
We ever done it with Papa. The first time when we really done it, we had feared so much.
When you did what?
When you killed the baby, first time. And
you killed the babies?
Yes.
You yourself?
With Papa. Papa holding my hand, he helped me. But he told me to cut the baby's head off. But he forced me to.
He held your hand?
He held my hand, yes.
Like what? Show me.
So this is my hand on the knife. He put his big hand on, and he pushed my hand and then cut off the head. Like that. And then when we got older, we got more used to it. But then we understood that when my mom found out about it, she understood. She told me that it's wrong to do this kind of stuff. So then but then me and Gabriel had still been used to it. But then we had understood that it's wrong.
And so, what the decision is?
And our decision, we had still a lot of fear in our head. But then when we read the book for June, it said that fear is the mind killer. So when we heard that, we thought that it was true. It was not really true. But then after, there was a man called Abraham who came to help us. He said that it is true, that fear is the mind killer. And then after, he said we have to face our fear. So then after we faced our fear,
look in the camera. The camera is here.
And then after
camera is here. Listen.
And then after we faced our fear.
So what you decided?
And we decided that we should stop. Or then
Come Gabriel, come closer to Alice.
Are you coming to the tree? They strung up a man, they say you're gonna free. Strange things that happen to a stranger would. You met and lived right in the hanging tree. Are you coming to the tree?
Get it on with me. Hey, we're taking it. Ow. Good jump. Good jump. Ready, Mama?
Du travail, c'est bien, bien mieux qu'être mal accompagné, pas vrai? Où est ton papa? Dis-moi où est ton papa? Sans même devoir lui parler, c'est ce qui ne va pas. Ah sacré papa, dis-moi où es-tu caché? Ça doit faire au moins 1000 fois.
Parties, they would they'd have all these expendable children outside in the woods, and usually they have holding grounds, like a tunnel system or something underground where they hold the kids in cages until the time of the hunt. And the hunt usually happens later, once it's dark outside. They'll kind of make a parameter, which is pretty large, of these woods, and they'll station the different elite people around the perimeter. And then when they give the go, they release the kids, and the kids are told just to run, to hide. And that's when the elite will go through the woods and start hunting for them. When they catch them, a lot of times they will first sexually abuse them, and then they'll kill them. Not everybody will get killed in that situation. If they don't, then they're used for other hunts. But, there were kids that I saw who, were really good survivors, and they would just continuously have.
Said it is insanely more satanic and devastating than even what we saw previously. Just going through the files today, it's Epstein talking to Woody Allen about grinding up bones of people, eating human bodies, how great his diet is. I mean, that's what these people are into, folks. All the medical experiments that's coming out about aborting babies to harvest them, what I told you years ago they were doing, I was the first to break it. This is so massive, and they just released the list of anybody prominently mentioned by Epstein. There is no actual client list that we know of. And so it's there. And of course, there's even more documents out there in different courts and places. And Trump's battling in federal court. Have that released. Democrats are trying to block it in federal court. The different grand jury testimony, information was brought out.
There have been increasing reports that workers have been hearing screams come from their cargo, but were told by their superior officer not to say anything or report it, otherwise they will be fired. And so a lot of these guys are too afraid to even go on camera and record this stuff because they don't want the video to go out there and then for them to be attacked, because everyone here knows what's actually going on with these shipping containers, but they fear for their own lives of being shot or killed or assassinated for speaking out against this. So no one knows what to do, so they've just been privately getting this out there, giving it to reporters and taking videos like this where you don't even see anyone's face. Everybody knows that Pizzagate is real now, with the Epstein files being released on February 1st, 2026. And we know that Prince Andrew, a prominent world leader, has just been arrested literally today. So we know that these guys are being dealt with, but it's a slow pace. But now at least we got everybody around the world trying to help these kids from being saved from their horrific things that they're having to go through. And they're being shipped all around the world. Human trafficking is the biggest business in the world right now. It is $1 trillion a year business. And 100 million to 500 million kids are shipped all around the world every year. That's what the movie The Sound of Freedom was trying to tell us, but no one wanted to listen back then. But now we finally are getting somewhere, and these people are finally being dealt with.
I had to become a Freemason because you can't get involved in Satanism on the hardcore level without first being a Freemason. That was my official shrine portrait, which they took as part of my initiation. I was ready to become involved in hardcore Satanism. What did that mean? Well, that meant I had to sell my soul to the devil. I had to sign my name on the contract in blood. I had to sign my name in the black book. You gotta understand something. The satanic doctrine here is that hell is not what we believe it is, or what the Bible teaches it is. The satanic doctrine is that hell is this incredible party. It's like a non-stop, all-eternity orgy. So you're smoking dope, you're fornicating your brains out, you're listening to rock and roll through all eternity. And it's party hardy time. But before I could get onto the priesthood of Satanism, excuse me, I had to get 7 people to sell our souls to the devil. The other thing I had to do, and this might astonish some of you, is I had to become a Catholic priest. I had to go back to my original vocation. Because you cannot be a satanic priest unless, first of all, you're a Catholic priest. And if that surprises you, I just suggest that you go and you read some of the medieval literature. You'll see that that is in fact the case.
There's something the elites are trying to keep from you, something that could change everything you thought you knew. The book, The Truth of the World, suppressed by many, reveals secrets that your own government doesn't want you to know. Comment, book, and uncover the truth before it's too late.
Joe Biden is going to be exposed as a major pedophile before he dies. And we are going to see some major celebrities. We're going to see some major judges, including one Supreme Court justice. We will certainly see at least one vice president, possibly 2. George Bush and Dick Cheney are out there. I've seen 3 different witnesses say Tom Hanks is a pedophile. It's not just the Catholic Church. It's the Mormon Church, and it's the Christian Zionists, the evangelicals that believe in the red calf and the apocalypse and all that. All of these people are pedophiles at the top, and some of them are murderous pedophiles. All these people that have been doing very evil things with impunity up to now are all of a sudden starting to realize they're naked. Their immunity blanket is being stripped away. Australia is going to pop soon. Australia has more pedophiles in high positions of government and on the Supreme Court of Australia than any other country in the world. Australia is going to explode when pedophilia at the Prime Minister and Supreme Court justice level is fully revealed to the Australian public.
There's something the elites are trying to keep from you, something that could change everything you thought you knew. The book, The Truth of the World, suppressed by many, reveals secrets that your own government doesn't want you to know. Comment, book, and uncover the truth before it's too late.
Where do you think fast food chains are getting their meat from? Listen.
This man is asking the public a very simple question. He says McDonald's sells 6.5 million burgers in a single day, yet he has never seen any massive cow farms, cow rearing centers, or large slaughter facilities where huge numbers of cows are kept and killed to produce all that beef.
So I was curious the other day and found this online. McDonald's sells 6.5 million burgers in one single day. That's 195 million burgers a month. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't see cows lined up around every corner waiting to be turned into patties. I mean, seriously, do the math. Even if you stretched one cow into a bunch of burgers, you're still talking millions of cows just to keep up every day. So I started asking myself, where are all these cows coming from? Is there some secret super ranch hidden underground? Are they growing cows in labs, cloning meat behind closed doors? People laugh it off, but think, when was the last time you even saw a cow farm?
But comment the word summit to register for my free training where I'm going to teach you exactly how to cleanse all these weird ingredients they feed you in America and how to reverse disease and how you can help others and teach you how to have a successful holistic health business so you can bring value to the world. and share this video.
Hey. Are you even paying attention to me right now?
We take the children of our enemy, which is the white race, and we bring them to the basements in the synagogues where we drain the blood and watch them die there. It's very similar to how we do the sacrifices that we do with the kosher butchering, and so we do that, and then we mix it with the Passover bread, and so we eat the blood of our enemies. And the bodies, we're not cannibals, so what we do is we take those, because we can make some shekels, and we give them to the slaughterhouses, and those are pounds and pounds and pounds of meat that we grind up in the sausage and the hamburger, and that's why we made those the most popular things, sausage for breakfast and hamburger for lunch. And so all the goyim out here are really eating their children. And even when we say this outright and tell you people,
This is probably the scariest internet cult. I think I would even say the scariest because quite frankly, I don't know how you could get any worse than this. And it all started in a bedroom in Texas. Moms, if you have children, if you care about internet safety at all, I beg you, please listen to this. This is the story of the 764 cult. Massive warning, it's graphic, it's disturbing. We're also talking about children. So if you think that listening to this, it's gonna harm your mental health in any way, shape, or form, please skip this video. But I do think that this is something incredibly important to listen to. This entire story starts with a 15-year-old boy in his bedroom, a boy called Bradley Chance Cadenhead. Bradley was one of 4 children, and he lived in Stephenville in Texas, a small town of about 22,000 people, about an hour southwest of Fort Worth. And Bradley had a very, very tough time at school because he just couldn't get along with anyone. It felt like everyone that he came across just eventually turned into a bully. And bullying was a daily thing for him, so much so that the only place that Bradley felt like he could truly be himself was tucked away at home in his bedroom. He pretty much only left the house to either go to school or go to Sunday church with his family, but apart from that, he preferred being alone. And by the age of 8 years old, having unlimited access to the internet was starting to become quite the alarming thing for Bradley, to put it lightly. Because videos and content that most children would stumble into by accident were the kind of things that Bradley began to seek out. He started looking up certain things like mature content, but then it turned into graphic, gruesome content, and then scary horror stories. But slowly but surely, all of these kind of different graphic things online began meshing into one, and Bradley started to become fascinated with very, very violent things. All kinds of things, by the way, like every graphic, scary, gross thing on the internet, anything that you could imagine, Bradley was looking up. And consuming so much of this content naturally started to change the way that his brain was working, really. The kind of thoughts that he started having, even the way that he behaved, started to change, and it began affecting not only his family dynamic, but also the way that he was at school. And eventually his teachers were alarmed by his behavior because he would talk about these violent things that he wanted to do at school, which as a teacher, I assume that that's just about the worst thing that you can hear, especially coming from a student, especially that young. After a series of threats from Bradley to the school, his assistant principal alerted authorities about him and about the things that he was saying. That ended up leading into an investigation against him, but disciplinary measures did not stop him. Bradley kept on talking about these things. He kept on using school computers to look up very violent, aggressive things. Like every red flag that a kid can show, he was showing. By only 13 years old, his obsession had grown into him actually wanting to do these things, actually wanting to commit these crimes and hurt people. That was around the time in his life that he was like, okay, enough of me having all of these thoughts in my head, I'm ready to act on them. And it of course did not help that he also had so much built up resentment against so many kids at the school because of the bullying. So he again threatened to bring a weapon into the school, and for that he was placed in a juvenile detention center. By his early teenage years, Bradley had suffered multiple psychological breakdowns and over time continued to only become increasingly isolated. He just wanted to be alone in his own thoughts. He didn't care about people. He actually didn't care about anything at all. At one point, he confided in one of his probation officers about how he just stopped caring altogether about anything and anyone. And then at 15 years old, Bradley dropped out of school completely. He just refused to go. And by the way, if it's not obvious, I don't think that his family dynamic was the best. I think that his mom and his siblings eventually moved out of the house, and obviously nothing that his dad did was really able to change Bradley, but he just stopped going to school entirely. He would pretend to go to school in the morning, he would wait for his dad to go to work, and then he would come back home and spend the entire day at home. Eventually his parents...
The 764 group on Roblox, which is literally a satanic cult, they're not money motivated. We can't just say, okay, we're not going to allow this stuff to happen on Roblox. The only way to do that is we know that this account belongs to Brandon and we know that this account belongs to Nick. And right now, they can't do that. I mean, you're talking a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company.
They just last year switched from a small-time LLC. They tried to get away with, oh no, we're a small company. You have a currency in your game that makes billions of dollars. What the f are you talking about?
Did you guys hear the leaked audio where the pilots forgot they left the intercom on the plane? One pilot's like, man, I'm kind of hungover. Quick question. Who would you trust more to pilot this plane? Me after 5 cocktails or a female pilot? And the other pilot goes, I would trust you on a heavy dose of fat. Over a female pilot.
The official bar tab of the 1787 farewell party for George Washington. According to the bill, the founding fathers drank 54 bottles of Madeira, 60 of Claret, 22 of porter, 8 of hard cider, 12 of beer, and 7 bowls of alcoholic punch. The party had 55 attendees.
What do you expect? The Marine Corps was founded in a fucking bar.
Oh,
This is why I love America.
Teen dies just 3 hours after being sextorted as nefarious international groups like 764 target U.S. kids. A heartbreaking case out of West Virginia is shining a light on a fast-growing online threat. 15-year-old Bryce Tate went from a normal afternoon coming home from the gym, eating dinner, and shooting hoops to receiving a message from a stranger pretending to be a local teen girl. Within hours, scammers had gained his trust, pressured him into sending compromising photos, and then demanded $500 money he didn't have. They threatened to expose him, messaged him nonstop, and pushed him into panic and fear. Just 3 hours after that first message, Bryce was dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Law enforcement says sextortion schemes like this are exploding across the U.S., with over 33,000 cases reported in 2024. Groups like 764, an international network known for targeting minors, are behind many of them. Authorities urge parents to lock down kids' social media, talk openly about online threats, and remind teens never to send explicit images to anyone.
So there's an internet cult called 764, and they're based in Texas. They basically go after kids and make them harm them, stuff on the internet, David, the singer, he's a part of that shit, 100%. I guarantee you they got his ass when he was younger and on them games, because he used to live in Texas. They got his ass while he was playing Fortnite, because we all know he likes gore and shit, so they got him, and then he started acting on it, 100%. And when he got money, he was able to really act on it. I'm already knowing. If you know ball knowledge, you know ball knowledge. These criminal organizations and these type of niggas is the worst type of nigga. Attack your kids while your kids are playing the game. You think your kids are just sitting there having fun, having a good time on Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, all these certain games, and there's these guys on the internet trying to get in there and manipulate their minds, make them do the devil's work. This shit is crazy. They are grooming these kids to be cult members. It is disgusting. It is an online cult from Texas. Do your research though.
This is Bradley Cadenhead, who started the biggest PDF terrorist organization ever, known as 764. Guys, extreme warning, this is some of the most upsetting and horrible stuff I've ever covered, and I'm furious after doing my research about it. Also, this all started on social media. It didn't happen on the dark web like a lot of my other videos. At 15 years old, Bradley joined a Discord server named Cult. In this server, he learned how to manipulate young girls into sending nude pictures so he could use them as blackmail to do horrendous things. During the pandemic, Bradley literally never left his house, and he spent all his time on that Discord server. He was bullied all the time in school and even charged one time with making terroristic threats towards the school. In 2021, he dropped out and made 764. 764 is based on the area code of where Bradley lived. He named himself Felix and then brought a couple friends to the server. They would lure victims in from gaming, depression, mental health, and eating disorder forums. Bradley would say they were easy targets. As the members grew, the server would be flooded with CP, gore videos, and a certain supremacist ideology. Bradley would end up being reported.
What is 764? What is it?
So I'll tell you in my own words first. 764 Group is a Satanist cult group that focuses on extreme violence, and one of the main things that they focus on is sextortion towards children. they're labeled as a nihilist group. And for anyone that doesn't know what a nihilist is, it just means like they believe that nothing matters. No, like there's a group called it, but no lives matter. No human life matters. Nothing matters. That's what a nihilist is. And these people have proved over and over again that they fit exactly the description that they're labeled as. And there are a ton of offshoots of this group, which I want to make it very clear that the main reason why they do a lot of the things that I'm about to show you is to get the recognition for it. There is to get the recognition individually, even if they're part of a group or a group that, they just want their group out there in any way, whether it's negative or positive. This group isn't looking for positive attention. I'll just be candid about it and tell you they extort children out of sexual material. They extort children into cutting their wrist, hurting themselves, cutting areas of their body, engraving their names into their chests, their legs, their arms, their faces. They've had children commit suicide live on camera in front of audiences of people while they get cheered on. They convince children to kill animals in their house, like their pet cats, their pet dogs. They try to convince them to kill their family members, commit mass murders, bestiality, incest, you name it. A lot of it has already been done. And I have a lot of examples of that to show you today. And that is only with 2 of these groups that we've been doing passive reconnaissance on for a short period of time. There is plenty of other active investigations that are going on with other organizations and that I may or may not have involvement in. But what I can show you today is based on what Sentinel and I have found in a relatively short period of time. And it's going to blow your mind. It's absolutely disgusting. And there's more to it, but it was created by it was unbelievable, but a 15-year-old boy started this group in Texas.
A 15-year-old boy?
15-year-old boy started the group. He was the beginning of it. And he, from what I read, was a nonverbal kid that had some, issues. I don't want to glorify this kid or talk about him in any way where anyone would feel bad for him, because he created something that is the worst thing next to, all the other things that we've talked about. This is probably one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. We'll see how you feel about it when you see it. But it was all started from this kid, and there's something called, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's called the COM. And the COM is a collection of mostly teenagers, but there's adults in there as well that congregate on the internet. The COM is short for the community. And they congregate on the internet, and they dox, meaning like release personal information on people. They SWAT, meaning they send SWAT teams to people's houses just to, scare them and to get recordings of them being swatted so they can use it to brag. Like, for example, they'll call in to a local department and say, hey, my name is John Doe. I have bombs strapped to the windows. I have my family strapped to the chairs. I'm going to shoot them all if any police enter the door. They're going to say all these horrible things so that a SWAT team, responds. And that's what swatting is. I've personally been swatted 3 times, 2 of which police actually showed up, and it was a big deal. I have a video of one of them, but I never gave them the recognition that it happened. There was no proof that it happened other than my recordings of it that I saved on my phone. I didn't want to give them the credit, So that's the COM. The 764 group actually came from the COM, and that doesn't mean all of the people in the COM have their own problems. They do their own stupid stuff. They've been torturing me since I was on your show 3 years ago, releasing my credit report, my personal information, sending pizzas to my houses, USPS boxes to my houses, and on pretty much thousands of boxes, no, literally thousands.
Sending what to your house?
USPS boxes.
Why?
Because they're free. You can order them on the USPS site, and they'll just keep sending pallet after pallet after pallet of these boxes. It's just to be annoying, though. They do it to be annoying and to get a reaction out of you. That's the COM. And a lot of them don't like me, and that's, I'll keep the comm pretty short because they're a whole different topic, but usually just annoying. I wouldn't say that they're hackers. I would say they're more annoying and they have technical abilities. Getting information on people, the way that they mostly do it is they like to use the term TLO, which TLO is just something TransUnion offers to run a report on somebody. And they'll use like a stolen private investigator's account to run somebody's name, get their social credit report and all of the above. And if they don't have access to one, they'll pay $15 to someone that does. And that's how they got my information, which I don't care. I genuinely don't. My credit's frozen. My address is out there publicly. There's nothing about me that they're going to find that isn't already out there. Like it doesn't matter to me. You can dox me, all you want. You could try to swat me, but like I know all the police all around my area. They're fully aware that people are going to try swatting me and have continued to try to swat me. I'm not really worried about them. It's more so the 764 group that stemmed from the comm, which is a whole different set of evil that I've never seen, where they want to like they want to sextort children. And sextortion usually, for the people out there that are not familiar with that term, sextortion is when somebody sends naked photos, could be an adult or a child, and the second that those photos are sent, they say, if you don't send me X amount of dollars, I'm going to send this to your family, your friends, your school, your loved ones, and they try to extort them out of funds. Most of those sextorters, not that it's okay by any means, but most of them are just trying to make money. They're not trying to do anything evil. And 9 times out of 10, they're never going to send that to anybody. Because they're never going to get paid if they do, number one. And number two, they're like if there was a child that they have nude images of, they would be distributing CSAM, like child sexual abuse material. So, it happened. The reason why I say that is I have a family member that's very close to me that it happened to. He sent stupid pictures. He was an underage boy, and I won't say his name, obviously, but I had to coach him through how to deal with these people, and they wanted money. They didn't want any of this other evil stuff. And I got them to click a link, the scammers. I found out that they were in, a foreign country that was, I believe it was Nigeria. It was a couple years ago, but I think it was Nigerian scammers. And I told them, just ignore them. Just don't say anything to them. Ignore them. I know it's hard. I know you probably feel like they're going to ruin your life, but they have no benefit in sending your photos to anybody. And they didn't. That doesn't mean that doesn't happen. It just didn't happen to him. And most of the time, why would they? It's wrong, and I'm not saying it's right. I'm not trying to make it sound okay. But in comparison to what these sextorters do, it's not even comparable, man.
There's an online satanic cult that is hidden in plain sight, and it is terrorizing children to hurt themselves and animals. The name of this cult is 764, and it's not your traditional cult. It's an online group that targets children on social media, on Discord, games like Roblox, and they target young teens into blackmailing themselves to take nude videos, into cutting symbols into their bodies, torturing family pets, and even offing themselves. Here's some of the propaganda they show in their chats, and it's really dark satanic imagery. Now, the FBI actually has over 250 open cases. They actually just arrested someone. He's from Porterville, California. He's 19 years old, and he's been charged with 2 counts of animal crushing, sexual exploitation of a minor, stalking, and much more. Saddest part is they target children with mental health issues. Christina says she believes her daughter was targeted by 764 after visiting a chat room where people were discussing self-harm. The group persuades victims to carry out sexual acts, harm themselves, and even attempt suicide during live video calls while its members watched. She deteriorated faster and worse than somebody essentially dying of cancer. She said they absolutely beat her down to make her feel like she is absolutely nothing without or with them. My daughter stopped sleeping, she stopped eating, and as a mom, I felt alone. I was scared and I was helpless and hopeless. No matter what age you are, be very mindful with who you're talking with on social media or what groups you're about to join, because nowadays you never know who the heck you're talking to, and it's starting to get really scary. So if we get more updates on this, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated, but man, this is evil.